Hi, good afternoon. Um, Basically, we're here to discuss more on mental health. As you know, I've been advocating for, for there to be more awareness on mental illness and mental health issues generally in Zimbabwe. So we're just going to have a discussion with my colleagues here at Priority Professional Placements. I'm grateful that they've decided to join us, and we're just going to get a general understanding of what people view as mental health and the importance it has, or whatever impact it has in their lives. All right, so with me, I have Fari, Panache, my Mike, sorry, Janet, and Auntie P, aka Spear. All right, and obviously myself, Tino. So basically, just to kickstart, I'm just going to throw a question out there. Anyone can take it. So I'm just going to ask, what is your general view of mental illness? Anyone can take, maybe Panache?
Mental illness. I'd like to think it is a condition that, well, firstly, it's really, it flies under the radar. We focus more on what we see on the outside as opposed to what we see or what happens on the inside. So mentally, we're talking your emotions, things like you'll find that you have things like depression, suicidal tendencies that come up because of depression that leads on whatever that may happen. Maybe there might be something that goes on in your life that exacerbates a situation where you become mentally ill or unstable, and that point, I think it's just something that people take for granted. Yeah.
You think it's a global thing or
Definitely.
Zimbabwe?
No. I think it's a global thing.
Okay.
Because we're in Zimbabwe, I'd say it's well, in my experience is that if there's something that you want to talk about that you're not totally okay with that's going on emotionally, you'll find that a lot of Zimbabweans will just put it aside and be like, no, it's because I was kunamata, or you're not praying, or it's because you're just not busy enough or whatever. But it's so you find that in our society it is quite prevalent that people don't take it seriously.
Alright. Maybe I'll throw this to you, MTP. Panache has alluded to the point of our society does not exactly take mental health as a big thing. Have you encountered anything that shows that it's our society that stops us from talking about certain things? Do you think it's something that's within our culture, and do you have any examples of where that has been shown?
I think it's more a social culture, both society and culture influence the way we look at mental illness. Mental illness is regarded as being more of a curse. Why I say it's regarded as a curse is because people again don't talk about it. If a family has a member that is mentally ill, that member is treated differently from other members of the family and actually kept away from the community because they are mentally ill. So as a result, it's something to be shunned. It's something that is not, somebody who's mentally ill then doesn't get the help they're supposed to get because they are discriminated against, for lack of a better word. They are isolated from the other members of their family, other members of the community. Some say it's a child that is mentally ill. They are not sent to a school where children that are not mentally ill go to, for example. If it's an adult, they don't engage in the same activities that other adults in their community get involved in. So it's something that has come from our cultural beliefs that one is a curse. And it, as I said earlier, it could be emotion and emotional illness caused by maybe somebody has been raped, somebody has been abused, maybe verbally or physically. or it could be even in the genes. It's been proven that somebody can be mentally ill because of some genetic disorder as a result of a genetic disorder. So, but I think society has influenced the way we look at mental illness and treat mental illness. There are mental illnesses that can be treated, but they are not being treated because of this social cultural belief that somebody has to be isolated or somebody is cursed, so it's their portion, so be it.
Right, maybe coming to you. I heard Panashe just mentioning cases like depression and all that. So, do you feel on a day-to-day basis you encounter people who look like they're functioning normally but might be harboring certain issues that they have? Maybe you bump into people, they might smile and act all normal, but they're actually depressed. Do you think that's a norm as well in society right now?
I think it is. The thing is, when we think of mental health, or mental illness, shall I say, is that we think of the extreme, the so-called crazy person, lack of a better word. But then we don't see that there's the everyday mental illness where you go home and you feel like the world is on top of you, literally sitting on your shoulders. You are overwhelmed, you are not able to cope with the things that you have to do on a daily basis. And essentially, you're crumbling inside, but because you're supposed to get over it, you just do. And that during that getting over it, every day the build-up can cause you to not be well mentally. But we don't accept that. The loss of a loved one. A lot of people break down after that, but then you find, especially amongst African people, who will say, "Shishingise." We don't allow a person to go through the 5 stages of grief. We don't accept that they're going to go through the stage of depression. They're just supposed to get over it. Life is just supposed to move on. Then there are cases where a child maybe that grows up without a parent, and they're taken care of by extended family. And it's always just, no, be grateful for what you have. But no one ever tries to find out how that child feels until they then eventually, perhaps worst case scenario, commit suicide or commit murder or do something extremely outrageous. And then it's like, oh, okay, so what is this? So we never really deal with the issue at hand. We just bury it. There's a lot of sweeping under the carpet that's done, a lot of things that are unspoken about, and you're just supposed to smile and carry on. And that is what I think a lot of people who think they're sane, or shall I say, mentally well, that's the kind of mental illness they have. Is that when you're now in a little corner by yourself, or maybe in the toilet or whatever, you just break down and cry because that's how you really feel. But you can't show that to the rest of the world.
Janet, I think well, she's spoken of day-to-day things that we've faced already, like grief, maybe losing a loved one, and things like that. Do you think right now in our society, people in general are equipped to help an individual who's going through certain things, who's depressed and things like that? Do you think we are equipped? I'm just moving away from the patient themselves and going towards the people surrounding the patient. Do you think we are capable? Because I think if you remember, there was once a guy on the ledge at Eastgate who tried to commit suicide and things like that. And I was thinking to myself, with the way Zimbabweans think, probably, because everyone around who was watching from the bottom would say, I don't know, things like that. So do you think there are people who are well equipped to actually assist people who go through some of these things, or are we all thinking when we are not GTs?
There are people who are equipped to give help if you need the help, like your counseling, if you approach the right people, or you, whatever experience you're going through, they are there. But I don't know whether it's Zimbabwe or we've been told you don't need counseling. And then you get the assistance and the counseling that you need. That's at a workplace. They probably have people that they know who can then assist you with whatever problem you're going through. But sometimes that relationship is not there with your HR or with your immediate supervisor to talk about your situations. You're like, I'm stressed, I'm depressed because of this, that. Because the confidence in the next person is probably not there. And you're also afraid of grapevine. And you also don't want people to then say, at the Chiganzes, this is what is happening. Like Spiwa has mentioned, the counseling, you have a little one who's not well at home, but they don't go for counseling because they are kept indoors. They don't even go out. You don't even know there's a child there where there's a problem. Because the parents don't have the counseling, the children don't have the counseling. My experience, there was a boy I know who used to go to one of these schools. Now he's able to do things for himself, he does his car washing, he's stable. But when we were growing up, he wasn't. But he got the counseling and the assistance, and his mental health is now okay. And there's also the treatment that they probably, you shouldn't disclose such things. But they are there.
They are there, okay. I like the fact that you highlighted that. I like the fact that Janet spoke about there being HR that can actually assist in the workplace and that. But do you think, because of some of the social and cultural barriers that you've already put across, do you think a person will be able to go as far as HR to be able to speak about their issues and things like that? Do you think us, as your regular people, like for example in this organization, me sitting next to you should also be able to assist you when it comes to say certain matters that you have? Should I be able to speak to you the language that can actually assist you?
In all fairness, I think it would be good if we are able to then relate and be able to assist each other, because I might be thinking it's the right way of doing things, or I'm in the right frame of mind, but you're probably seeing something else. So if you're open and you're able to relate and say, Janet, this is what you should do, or this is what Farai I think you should be able to do, and be able to relate in order to be, from whatever situation you're going through, to being a better place, I think that would help. But then, obviously, at the end of the day, it depends with what sort of relationship you have. I can probably come and say, Auntie P, I'm going through this. And Auntie P can say, no, Janet, this, that. So it then also depends with the relationship. But then I think HR, you're in a position where it's my job. And I'm here to assist. And you probably have the right know-how and the technical ability to do it. Because I might go to Panasha and say, Panasha, I'm going through this. And then Panasha just says, Janet, it's no big deal. Because he doesn't have the capabilities to sort out whatever I'm going through. Maybe at a friend level, we can relate and be able to assist each other.
Okay, alright, makes sense. Alright, so just moving a bit away from all of that, I just wanted to ask, maybe personally, is there anyone who feels they've personally had to deal with certain demons or an experience where they think it really affected them to the point where they thought, I'm useless, I can't do this anymore, I can't, in a way where they feel it probably was a mental illness creeping in, it was some kind of depression, it was anxiety that was affecting them. I don't know if there's anyone who's got something that they're comfortable sharing.
I can go first. My experience comes from my period where I was unemployed, which actually worries me because, it's actually that the whole country is in such a situation where the majority of people are unemployed, right? So, personally speaking, I was unemployed for months on, and would apply to jobs. I would do the things I was told to try and get a job, but nothing was coming. And there were days, and there was actually a period in my life where I was here at home. I'd spend the whole day at home, I'd be by myself, and getting out of bed was difficult. if I did get out of bed, I would go sit on the couch and lay on the couch the whole day. It's not to say that I didn't have anything to do, or it just got to a point where, moving or even thinking about the next step was just hard. You just go to this sunken place, if I can call it that, where it's extremely difficult to get out. And I would like to, there would be times where I would think maybe I should talk to someone, but just even doing that in itself was a big step.
Okay,
Very difficult for me to do. I didn't, it's not that to say I didn't have people to talk to, it's just that I just didn't know how to talk to them. Okay, so Tina asked how I got through it, that. So it took my cousin having literally to do the physical thing of opening the curtains, pick me up, dude, okay, let's have a talk. What's going on? Because he's also, at that time he was finishing school, and the prospect of employment was quite scary for him as well, because he could see what I was going through. So I think for him it was also a sort of a preventative measure. He wanted to know exactly what was going on. So in doing that for himself, I think he also did it for me. But I like to think he did it for me mostly. It just took him talking about it, or talking to me about it, asking me what the issue was. Trying to get to the root of the problem and finding solutions around the problem, around the whole unemployment issue, of which was just we just had to keep going, trying what we're doing, applying for jobs, and even though we weren't getting responses, we had to think of other things. Maybe look to making or starting new businesses. So just trying to be productive, right? Of which it's not always that easy for other people to bounce back. It wasn't easy for me. It's still something that just looms on the back of my mind. Sometimes I go back to those days when I think about that time. Just talking.
Talking about it now.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I think maybe also talking to someone you trust. Yeah, that's a crucial point. Because then you'll know if whatever they say might be coming from, or will be coming from a loving place, a non-judgmental place. Because you might feel ashamed that you have this thing going on in your life, and you're not the perfect person that your parents might see you as, or your family might see you as.
So, talking about it now.
Yeah.
You know how they say there's also medication for situations like that?
Yeah.
Would you be comfortable taking medication? And do you think generally society is comfortable taking medication, antidepressants and things like that?
If I had gotten to the point where I would have had to, or I needed to go see a doctor or an actual trained professional about this issue, and they, recommend that, then yes, I would give it a go to see how, or to see if they would work or not. Because it's nothing like it, because you want to feel better, you want to do better, you want to, be a fully functional member of society, and if medication were to put you on that track, then yeah.
Great, wow. Thanks for sharing. I'm always telling people that to defeat it, or to fight it, or to finally get to that place where you're cured of it, what's important is just to say it, to say that this is what I'm going through, this is what this is, Because like you're saying, a lot of us are in a position where you think society won't accept me, or you feel embarrassed if you openly then say, oh, so by the way, I suffer from intense anxiety. You know, I can't do certain things. It can get to a point where I can't, physically, I can't do a lot of things because of that anxiety. They just kill me. I get so anxious about any situation. It can be such a small thing, but it can just totally overshadow my whole, that whole period in time that I was going through. But like you're saying, if talking about it can help you, then go for it. But do you think in just talking about it, do we always get the right support? Maybe anyone else around. Do you think in talking about it, we always get the right support from the people
I
around?
can come in
Or
on
does
that
it-
one.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd got to the point where, but I don't know, where you could categorize it as mental illness, but I'd got into depression, which would have led to a mental health challenge. After when my dad passed away, I think I was the strong one in the family, even during the whole funeral process and everything. I hardly cried. And then it hit me like a month or a month and a half later, and other members of the family were beginning now to lead their lives in the normal way, and it got to the next level of acceptance. Then it hit me that he had gone. I went to see a doctor, medical doctor. The medical doctor prescribed antidepressants. I went to the company clinic because there was a benefit that we could get prescription drugs from the company clinic and claim it on medical aid. And the nursing sister was in charge of the clinic. When I was given the prescription, I didn't know they were antidepressants. I just thought maybe it was something to just calm me down. Then she took the prescription and she tore it up in front of me and she said, I'm not going to give you this. You don't need them. And I said, no, but you don't understand what I'm going through. And she said, talk to me about what you are going through. And that's when the counseling stage started. So I started talking to her about what I was going through, and she says, yeah. So I was right, you don't need them. Do you know what these are? Then she explained to me what they were. And she explained to me that once you start taking these antidepressants, probably for life, you're going to be on them. Yes, you're going to feel good. You feel you're on top of the situation. You feel everything is okay. Once you go for a few hours after you've taken it and it's washed out, you're not going to be able to cope. So you are going to be dependent on this, and I don't want you to be dependent on this. My office is open to you anytime that you want. You come. If you want to talk, we talk. If you want to cry, if you want to hit the wall. And that's exactly what I did, I think, for a period of about 3 or 4 months. And it got to a stage where I then realized the importance of talking. So talking does that. But as Panashe says, talking to the right person. I think it's, yes, I may trust Janet, but as Janet also said, if she then doesn't know how to respond to what the information that I'm sharing with her, she might lose me, or she might make the situation worse, or we might end up crying together, which is, you don't want that. So yeah, talking does help a lot, because for me it ended up being more the talking, also with the crying, also with the beating up of the desks in the clinic and thumping the bed. But a lot of talking did help, because it helped release. I was able to share what I was going through, and at times she would not say anything, and that helped, because I didn't want it to, because at times when you think you're offering help by offering advice, it's coming from a good place, but the person doesn't need that. Either it's just going to reinforce what the person is feeling, or it's going to make the situation worse. So she knew how to then handle what I was saying. At times she would just keep quiet, and that's what I wanted. I just needed to let it out. So yes, to answer your question, talking does that.
There's another angle. Okay, from I'll pick one of my phases. Where I then learned and understood, shall I say, mental illness. I've always been the type of person, I don't know if it's from TV or from friends or from family, I'm not sure where, but in my mind, I've always been the get over it type. There's no such, like, you're exaggerating issues. There's more people with worse off than you. What kind of a person goes through that? So the first time I actually went through that, I have a friend of mine, she studied psychology. She's actually a registered clinical psychologist and she can give out the medication and everything. And we stayed together at the time. And I always had this thing that I say to her, don't psychoanalyze me. Like, that was my statement of it. I was like, oh, private joke. Then she noticed that I wasn't quite okay. Fadi, are you okay? And again, don't psychoanalyze me. But what I didn't realize is that I was disappearing in my own mind for certain periods of time. And the periods got longer and longer and longer. Then the longest one was plus minus, I could say 15 minutes. And what snapped me back was the hoot of a car because I almost got hit, almost got run over. That day is the day I went back to her and I said, I'm letting you psychoanalyze me. Something is wrong, I'm overwhelmed and I disappear in my own mind and I don't realize I've disappeared until I come back. And today, because of where I last remember and where I was when I woke up, that's at least 15 minutes in between. Everything else, it was my subconscious at work, my ticket check, my getting off the train, my going to work and reaching this point where I'm crossing the road to get into the door of the office. It was all done by my subconscious, I was not there. That's when she said, I've been asking you what's wrong for weeks because I could see that you're not all there, but when you go through it, you don't believe that you are because you've always thought, nah, I'll never get depressed. I'm always in control, I always have this. But it was so bad because she tried to explain it to me, but the best way that I can explain it is that you aren't able to handle your right now. So you take yourself to this happy place as a place of comfort, some sort of trying to balance between reality and how you wish things were. And so if you're not careful, you then get stuck in that place. So that's what you're saying, some people then end up being schizophrenic because then they become that person in that other life. Or the best example is that movie, The Genius. What's that movie called? Where he was yes, the maths genius, yeah. That you live two parallel lives and the other life people don't know it because it actually exists in your head. So she said, I can put you on meds, but I think the fact that you've realized it's happening, you can come out of it. But we're gonna need to talk every day. And you're gonna have to make a conscious effort not to slip back. No matter, as soon as you start switching off, start talking or start doing something so that you stay in now. And then we deal with what's wrong now. So what we eventually found was I hated my job. And it was more, not so much that I just didn't like it, but I didn't like the fact that I was failing at it. Yeah. So the overachiever in me was not coping with the fact that the school plus job, I'm failing my honors, and then I'm getting bad reviews at work. So the two together is what ate me up until I just disappeared. Then plus the fact that I am not a winter person. So so it just all piled on top of me without me dealing with the issue.
Wow. Some of the things you've talked about, if not all the things you've talked about, are things I think everyone goes through on a day-to-day basis. We grieve when we lose someone. We go through periods of unemployment. We go through periods of employment where we're not happy at work, and we have to face the cold of winter, and these are the different things that affect us every day. And I thank you for sharing, because it's not an easy thing to share some of these things. But I think it's high time we start to talk about these things, because the more we talk about them and ask the right questions or say the right things, we're saving a lot of lives, you know, because like you mentioned, it can lead you to suicide, it can lead you to different things. So, because we're out of time, unfortunately, I think we'll continue this conversation another day. But first of all, thank you for sharing, thank you for your input, and I'm pretty sure that this will go a long way in saving different lives. But advice I can give to you guys who are watching is, let's talk about it, you know. Find someone you trust, find someone you care about or who cares about you, who can be able to assist you in whatever situation you're going through. Unfortunately, like Faraz mentioned earlier on, a lot of our issues, we sweep them under the rug, we bottle them inside, and then we talk about these things when it's too late. Maybe we're at a funeral, we start discussing, hey, Ningi had to go through this, I know, every child because of this and that, and things like that. But at the end of the day, if we speak about it, if we call it what it really is, an issue that's affecting each and every one of us, I think we'll be able to find the right people who can assist us, and we can help even the young people, because this affects not only us in our ages, but even young kids coming up. You know, they lose parents who could be fun and loving, they shy away and